Okay, now that our document is set up, okay, the first thing is I'm gonna get rid of this one. Okay, and I can directly call this class over here. I can directly add this type to the body tag instead of writing a new class. Okay, so here the first thing what we're gonna do is we're gonna create a div container, and inside this we'll say div dot row, and here we'll say div dot call lg4 dot call md4, and that's it. So inside this, we're going to create our card. So the first thing what we're going to do is we're going to give a div dot card, and inside that we're going to say div dot card title, and we can give a h3 tag for this one, or h4 tag. I'm going to say login as admin. So let me check how that looks like. So if I get back here, let's refresh, I can see it looks like this. Okay, so we need to specify the card body. So I'm just going to cut this out and say div dot card body, and let's paste it over here. Let's hit refresh. Okay, that looks good. Now we want this in center. So what we can do is here we can call this as justify content center. Let's save that. Let's get back here. Let's hit refresh. Okay, that looks good. We need some spacing on the top. So what we're going to do is we're going to say MT, that is margin top. I will give it as 5. So that will give some more spacing for us on the top. Okay, that looks good. Now, as you can see that we don't have much of a shadow options over here. So it doesn't reflect, the shadows are there, but they don't reflect much. So I'm going to apply some shadows over here. I'm going to call this as BX or box shadow, something like that. Call the dot BX, and here we will say box shadow. I'm going to set this as 2 pixel, 2 pixel, 8 pixel. I'm going to say RGBA, and here we'll say 0.3. Okay, so we're going to apply this class to this card over here. So I'm going to just give this as BX. Let's get back over here. Let's hit refresh, and I can see that we have some nice shadow for this one. Okay, I think it has to be much more thinner. So I'm going to get back over here and set this to 2. Let's see what changes does it make. Let's hit refresh. Okay, it's lighter, and I think we can change this to 18. Let's save that. Let's see, I think we're going to give more blurriness over there. Okay, that looks good. And the next thing is inside this we need to add our form. So I'm going to first add a title, a small paragraph. So here I'm going to say class card text. Okay, and here we'll call a simple message, log in with your username and password. Okay, so let's see how that looks like. Let's hit refresh, and I can see, yeah, this one I think it has to be much smaller. So what we can do is we're gonna cut this one, or you can directly call a class, call this a small, and that's gonna make the text a bit smaller. Okay, that looks good. And if I apply text muted, I think that's gonna look much better. So I'm gonna call this as text muted. Let's save that. Let refresh. Okay, that looks a bit grayed out, which is actually looking good now. So now we can add our login information. The first thing what we're going to do is we're going to create a form tag. Okay, and inside this we're going to say div dot, and we want some margin bottom, so I'm going to call this as MB3. Okay, and inside this we'll say input, type is text. I'm going to give a class. I'm going to call this as form control, and we want the font to be smaller, so it's a form control SM. Okay, I'll give a placeholder. I'm going to call this as username. Okay, and we want it to be required, so I'm going to set this as required. So let's get back over here. Let's hit refresh, and I can see that we have a input field where the user will add in his username. So let's do the same thing for the password. I'm just going to copy this one and then paste it over here, and okay, everything's going to be same. I'm going to change this to password. Okay, and everything here remains same. I'm going to change the placeholder. I'm going to call this as password. That's going to be required. That's fine. And let's paste the same thing again, and this time input type is going to be submit. Let's save that. Now the classes here are going to change to btn, btn sm, btn success. Okay, and instead of placeholder, I'm going to give a value for this. I'm going to also get rid of that required thing for the submit button. So I'm going to give a value. I will call this as sign in. Okay, let's get back over here. Let's hit refresh. Okay, so we have the button, but I think it has to be a little bit more lengthier because it kind of looks very small. So what we can do here is we can call this as btn block. So that's going to give a full width button. Okay, that looks better now. So you can add the username and password. If the user does not add anything, if he hits on submit button, it gives him a error message telling that he has to fill out this particular field to continue. Okay, so now that our login form is ready, so let's just say the user logs in, we need to welcome him in the dashboard. So the dashboard is a huge thing because it comes with a lot of stuff. So let's see what all the things we can work with in the dashboard.